Hello and welcome to the class. My name's Daniel, and today we're going to look at how to understand distractors. If you have a question for us after the class, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. This is the second of two classes and will last just over 20 minutes. First, we're going to talk about multiple choice questions, and then we're going to move on to talk about matching information to paragraph questions. So by the end of the class, you should be more familiar with how to answer these types of questions. During the class, you'll be asked to answer questions. These will appear below the video, and I'll tell you when you need to answer them. I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for each one. So let's start with multiple choice questions. So what exactly are multiple choice questions? Well, they're questions in the reading that have 4 answers to choose from. So it'll be like A, B, C, and D. You have to choose one of them. Usually there's 2 different types. They could be either completing a sentence where you have the first half of the sentence and then you have 4 endings and you have to choose the correct ending. Or they could be answering a question where you have a question and you have 4 answers to that question. So those are the 2 different types of multiple choice questions you can get. They refer to just part of the text, not the whole text. So you don't have to read the whole text and jump around all over the place. It'll just be part of the text that you're looking at. You're trying to find the answer in there. So let's look at how to answer these types of questions. Well, the first step with most IELTS questions is to highlight the keywords, and that's the same here. By keywords, we mean the most important words in the question. We're going to look at how to do this in a moment. And then you have to think of synonyms for them. So words that have the same meaning. Once you've highlighted the keywords and you've thought of synonyms, you need to find the part of the text containing the answer. So you quickly look for it and you go, okay, I think the answer is in here. When you've found that part of the text, you need to read that part carefully to see which answer is fully paraphrased. What I mean is which of the options, the 4 options, is 100% in there. Not just 1 word or 2 words, but the whole thing needs to be in the text. And which are distractors. So because there's 4 options, 3 of them are incorrect. So 3 of them will likely have distractors in them. And remember, if you're still not sure what the correct answer is, with multiple choice questions, you can just guess. You have 4 possible answers, so you have a 25% chance of getting it correct. So let's get started with an example of a multiple choice question. Well, we can see here that this is a typical multiple choice question. You have the question. This one is one where you have half of a sentence and you have to complete the sentence with one of these 4 endings. Now, the biggest challenge here is that there's a lot of vocabulary in there. And what we have to do first is to look for the key words. So we'll just go through and highlight the key words here together. So we've got personally, highlight that. We've got April, found it hard, get her own films funded through the normal channels. So those would be the keywords in that opening sentence. Now, it's not just important to highlight those in that first part, you have to highlight the keywords in the answers too, because that's what we're going to be looking for as well. So it says the government in her country wants to regulate what the public sees. So that's keywords there. We could also say here, the movies she makes don't match up to the typical expectations distributors have. So those would be the key words in that one. Then in C, we could say her fan base, not very supportive, be the key words there. And then in the final one, we could say financiers can't guarantee that the film will be successful in the future. So that's how we want to start all of our IELTS reading questions, particularly multiple choice ones. We have to get very quick at doing it. So it's really important to practice this highlighting key words. So here is the underlined sentence. And what we're going to do is read through this paragraph and see if we can find synonyms or distractors for these words. Now, synonyms are words with the same meaning, and distractors are words that look the same, but actually they're a distraction. So they aren't the same. They'll give you the wrong answer if you think they are. So let's have a look at this first one. Can we find any synonyms for these? The government in her country wants to regulate what the public sees. So we can quickly look through and see if we can find any. So let's read this first sentence. It says, another hurdle she's encountered is that financing was traditionally controlled by distributors, broadcasters, and governments. Okay, so we've got governments here. Okay, so is this government in her country? Well, it doesn't say anywhere here anything about in her country. Let's keep reading. Film researcher Rebecca Laycock explained that these bodies act as gatekeepers. So these bodies is a synonym for this government. It actually refers to the distributors, broadcasters, and governments. That's these bodies act as gatekeepers and essentially regulate what the public sees. So we've got regulate what the public sees. So it's repeated in here. But does it have the same meaning? Well, here it's saying April's government in her country wants to regulate what the public can see. Whereas here, it's just saying governments in general. And this is Rebecca Laycock speaking, not April. It's saying these bodies, so these governments want to regulate what the public sees. It's not the governments in April's country. There's no mention of in her country. So although we can see governments, although we can see regulate what the public sees, these are distractors. Let's move on to the second sentence here. So here we have the movies she makes don't match up to the typical expectations distributors have. Okay, well, we saw distributors here. It doesn't talk about their expectations anywhere in here. Here it was Rebecca Laycock speaking, so we're not focusing on Rebecca, we want to focus on April, and we can see here we've got April here. So let's read this sentence carefully and see. It says, one reason April has been unsuccessful is that her films, the movies she makes, and her films, that's the same meaning. They're synonyms. Okay, so it looks good so far. Don't conform and don't match up to, that's the same meaning as well. Okay, so we've got synonyms for those two so far. The qualities, these gatekeepers, so if we remember these gatekeepers, that's referring back to these gatekeepers here, which is referring to distributors, broadcasters, and governments. So these gatekeepers is the distributors look for. So the qualities these gatekeepers look for, that could be the typical expectations the distributors have. And then it gives some examples of these expectations. It says big name actors, linear plot lines, and flashy visual effects. So this sentence, all of it is matched to some synonyms in the question. So B is the correct answer here because all of it is paraphrased or matched up. Let's just check for the others and see if they match as well or if they're incorrect. So if we were looking for April and her fan base is not very supportive, we can scan through here and we can see her fans here. It is talking about April still. So it said crowdfunding will allow her to sidestep these gatekeepers and drum up support, so supportive, from her fans. Now, here it says not very supportive, but actually here it says she has support from her fans. So actually these are distractors again. They're words, keywords. If you just look for them as individual words, you'll get the question wrong because it has a different meaning, the whole sentence. And let's look at the final one now. So here financiers can't guarantee that the film will be successful in the future. We've got the word guarantee here. If we go back to the bottom, it says also the backers, okay, the backers, that says financiers, themselves act as guarantors of the film's future. So can't guarantee and act as guarantors, that's opposite meanings. So the film's future, the film in the future. So actually this is the key bit here. Here it's saying they act as guarantors, whereas here it's saying they can't guarantee it. So these aren't the same. So D is not the correct answer here either. So we've been able to look not just for keywords, because if we just look for keywords, we might just find distractors and we might get the question wrong. So we've looked for keywords and then we've read carefully the whole sentence to see if the whole sentence is correct or is paraphrased. Now let's turn our attention to matching information to paragraph questions. So they're a little bit different. So let's have a look at what they are. Well, these are questions where you have to match a paragraph or section of a text to a statement or a piece of information. Now, unlike the multiple choice questions, which just focus on a small part of the text, these focus on the whole text. Because it's talking about paragraphs, you sometimes have to look at paragraph A and then paragraph C and paragraph E. So you're jumping around all over the text. And the answers are not in order usually. So the answer to statement 1 might be paragraph E, whereas the answer to statement 2 might be paragraph B. So you might have to first read E, then go to B, then go to F, then go to A. So you just often have to jump around with these types of questions. But let's look at how to answer them. Well, again, you still need to first look at the statements and highlight the key words in the questions or the statements, and again, think of synonyms for them, just like we did with those multiple choice ones. Then what you need to do is skim the text. So read the whole thing very quickly, just to get a general idea for it. So you'll have an idea of what each paragraph is about, roughly. Then you reread the questions again. So you look back at the questions and try to guess which paragraph the sections are contained in, okay? So you'll look back at the questions, you go, ah, yeah, okay, I think this one is in paragraph E. I think this one is probably in paragraph F, okay? So after that, you go to that paragraph or section and scan for the keywords. So the keywords that we've highlighted here, you then look around that for the keywords, and then you see if the information in that paragraph section matches the question. So you'll find some keywords and then you check it with the question to see if it matches. So that's how we'd approach that. And let's take a look at a couple for some examples. Well, here's an example of one. It says the reading passage has 3 sections, A to C. Which paragraph contains the following information? So these sections, these are paragraphs. Which paragraph contains the following information? Write the correct letter A to C in the boxes 1 to 3 on your answer sheet. So this is what the task would look like in the actual exam. Here it has an important note. It says you may use any letter more than once. So you might use the same paragraph or the same section to answer 2 or 3 different questions. And here are the statements we need to match up. So again, the first thing we should do with this type of question, just like the previous one, is we have to highlight the key words again. So let's do that together. So it says 1, mention a tool for attracting people's attention. Those are the key words in there. For the second, it's talking about a reason for turning down a way of getting money connected to the movie she has made. We highlight all that. And then for 3, the type of character needed for the method of crowdfunding to succeed. So those would be the keywords we'd highlight, and we try to find them in the paragraphs. We try to match the paragraphs to those statements. So we're going to practice that next. So here's the underlined questions. And here is paragraph A. Now, what I'd like you to do is look at the question below the video and answer which of these 3 is contained in paragraph A. I'm going to give you 10 to 15 seconds to try that. Okay, so let's look at these together. We're going to start by going through this paragraph. So it says, having researched these methods, okay, well, methods could be here, methods or away. April has discarded the first 3. Discarded is the same as turned down. Now, we need to see if she's turned one down, if it's talking about why she's turned one down connected to her movie, the movie she has made. And if we look here, it says the second may not be viable due to the niche appeal of her film. And the third is too much like asking for charity. So she's discarded or turned down this method because of the niche appeal of her film. So that's a reason for turning it down. So the correct answer here is 2. Now let's look at the second paragraph. And again, I'd like you to look at the question below and say which statement matches that paragraph. Okay, let's look at this one together. So it says, before she can start receiving money, we've got the word money here, and receiving money, getting money. So you'd think maybe this is the correct answer because it's got those synonyms there. As a standard procedure, April needs to produce a promotional video. Now, promotional is a way of attracting people's attention, which she can generate enthusiasm for. So again, attracting people's attention, generate enthusiasm for yet to be made film. And the video here would be the tool. So it looks like number 1 is the correct answer because we can see that it's got a tool, synonym video, attracting people's attentions. Well, it's a promotional video, and it's generating enthusiasm for her film. If we keep looking, we can actually see as well that we've got mechanics of funding and getting money. They're synonyms, but again, this is a distractor. So just be careful of just looking for those keywords. Now let's have a look at the final paragraph. And again, look at question 3 below the video and see if you can match the correct one. Okay, so let's look at this one together. Well, we've already seen that 1 and 2 match the paragraphs A and B. Now remember, it says here you may use any letter more than once, so potentially 3 could have matched to A or B, but we're just looking at C, so it does match here. But let's see why. Well, we've got type of character needed for the method of crowdfunding to succeed, so we're looking for the keywords. We've got succeed here, and we've got the success here of crowdfunding. Now, Crowdfunding is one of those words, especially when it's the main topic of the thing you're reading, it's one of those words that won't have a synonym. So you'll just see it appear again and again throughout the article. So the success of crowdfunding campaigns depends a lot on personality, so character. And then it goes on to say researchers Davidson and Poor found that the crowdfunding model tends to work best for people with extroverted personalities. So this is a type of character, an extroverted personality. So we can see that all of this is paraphrased in here, and there are no distractors. So C would be the correct answer for 3. So that's how you would answer matching paragraphs to statements. Now, if you have a question, remember you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. Remember to complete the online training and do the extra practice activities. Thank you very much for coming to the class. We'll see you again. Goodbye.